We're going to look at someone's chart today. Um, and many times during the week, I'll get requests for a reading, astrology reading, and I don't know anything about that person. They just give me their birthday, time, and place. And in this particular situation, I didn't even know the time of birth. Um, but you did give me accident on 7/30/10, and so from that I came up with March 12th, 1968 at 3:19 a.m. And so what we did, so we see she's Sagittarius, rising at if you looked at the eastern horizon, the constellation corresponding to Sagittarius would be rising at 23 degrees and 35 minutes. And what she's working on in her life is business communication. You look at the multiconal signs 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. She's working on communications, business, entrepreneurial challenges. Let's see here. She's working on investments and educating herself and others. She's working on overcoming some obstacles and doing research, spiritual research. She's working on a career, and she is working on income, finances, and herself, longevity, life purpose. So let's look through, see how the planets are operating. Sun is at 28 degrees. It's in old age, so it's weak. It rules the ninth house. And so this is the house of good fortune. Also, banking and father in this house. So she didn't get much support from her father, and it turned out after I did the report, she was adopted. Parents were not around, and except for adopted parents, and good fortune is what the ninth house is about, and also this is a house of teaching, education, educating others. So Sun is in this house of business and communication, and so business through teaching, and Sun is also management. So Moon is also in old age, slightly weak, and it is any sign, multiconal sign in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house becomes functional malefic. So here we sign Cancer, ruled by Moon. Moon is in its own sign, which gives it some power, but it's in this house of obstacles and delays, setbacks, death-like experience, transformations. So she's vulnerability. So she's always going through some transformations, and she does some research into healing. And this house is also afflicted by Rahu. Rahu is close to the most effective point, and K2 as well. So they afflict 5, 7, and 9 houses away, because the most effective point, 23 degrees, that's the most effective point of every house. So when Rahu and K2 or any other planet is close to that rising sign degree, then they afflict. Rahu and K2 is 5, 7, 9 houses away. Mars is also close to the most effective point, so it's not malefic, so it can actually support 4, 7, and 8 houses away. Let's see, any other planets close? Moon is a malefic, so it can afflict 7 houses away. So it's afflicting this house of um, wealth, recognition, and long term, the stability of relationships. So Rahu is afflicting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This house of obstacles. 6, 7, career. 8, 9, expenses. K2 is afflicting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Recognition. 6, 7, family. Family, again, this issue with not having family, so being adopted. 8, 9, health. So K2 is afflicting all of those. Mars at 24 degrees is close to the MEP. We just talked about that. It can be supporting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this house of family gives some support to research. 6, 7. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. No, for relationships. It's supporting relationships. 6, 7, good fortune, and 8, career. So giving some support to career. Give her ambition for career. And it is ruling this house of investments, children, and education. Now, Mars is afflicted by Rahu. So that makes Mars weak, limits the number of children. Found out later she has no children. Mercury is at 0 degrees, so very weak, and it's conjunct Venus and Sun. It's within 5 degrees. It's ruling the house of career. So give some these are all weak basically, but you still combine them. So if they're strengthened, you got this business communications, this ability to, healing arts, and this management or leadership, teaching abilities. So you combine them, and if you could strengthen them, it gives her great power to teach. So we saw Venus that's ruling this house of income, in this house of business and communications, and Venus is, fine arts, healing arts, performing arts. So healing, as she has ability to heal other people. She has actually pretty strong intuition. Moon being in its own sign, and ability to research healing modalities. Moon is mother, and ability to nurture. So that's a healing ability and intuition. Saturn is fairly strong. It's in this house of family and property, and it's ruling this house of business and communications. So Saturn gives business through ability to counsel. It's service. Saturn's a planet of service and ability to help other people, serve other people. So, and we just talked about Rahu. It afflicts family, so she was adopted, it turned out. And K2, we talked about afflicting health. And K2 has to do with tumors and things like that. Apparently, it turned out later that she had fibroids. So, basically, I deduced that her career would be in counseling other people, in managing and healing people's finances. Jupiter has to do with finances, banking, and then we have Mars having to do with investments. So she's counseling them on Mars is also properties. It's in this house of property, and so we can connect investments and property and her ability to counsel them. So what we did for remedies is we suggested gavash to strengthen everything except Moon and Rahu and K2. Uh, and then we would transform Moon by listening to Shiva chants on Mondays, helping women, and on Mondays, and then transforming Rahu by listening to Shiva chants on Mondays as well, helping people who cannot help themselves. Actually, it turns out she very involved in church charity work. And then K2, giving to spiritual organizations, which is her church, and feeding the, you could also feed the birds for Rahu, and uh, listening to Ganesh chants on Thursdays. So that's an example of when we didn't know anything about the person, and a lot of it turned out to be fairly accurate.